Good morning, everybody. Matthew Armstrong here on day 28 of our 100-day transformation program from mediocrity to mastery. So again, I'm running late, really late this morning. Technical challenges I've been having trying to create a Google Hangout by myself. Up until now, Victoria's done every single one for me, and now I'm left to paddle by myself. So I've been trying to create it, and in the end, this is what I want to do. I want to put the link in. Yeah, I couldn't work out how to embed it. So I have to put the link in the page. And it's very difficult to multitask, to do two things at once. So just let me put this in for anyone who's watching live. I won't be able to see it until I do this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so just on the supermanprogram.com, where we generally embed these hangouts so they can be watched live. I couldn't work out how to embed it, so I just reverted to doing it straight on YouTube and then putting the URL to watch it live in the comment section of where it was supposed to be embedded. Technical stuff, not my forte. When would it be a good time for me to activate my genius in this area? Probably now would be a good time, because it definitely will help myself, my business, and everything. If I could just get a bit more of a fay with the technical things. You know, when we rely on someone so much for something, then we never really learn it. You know, my son's been learning how to swim lately, and he's just turned 2, but he does amazingly. He dives in now and swims about 2 meters. But you know, one of the reasons why is I never put armbands on him. I never put one of those rubber rings around him or anything like that. From the very start, I let him know the weight of himself in the water, and then what it takes. Because I remember back, I have a very good long-term memory for just experiences I had as a child, and I remember back very clearly that I used to have a rubber ring and I used to have armbands, but sometimes I had both together. I had armbands on, and then I got inside the rubber ring, and I was just like a whale floating around. You know, there's no swimming skills required to float around in the water when you have armbands on and a rubber ring, and you don't learn anything either. You don't learn how to swim. And I remember as soon as something happened, like my armband slipped off, or I let go of the rubber ring, I just sink. I just felt like this lead weight, because the contrast from having the armbands on or the rubber ring to suddenly not, you just sink down in the water. And so I never really felt that was a beneficial way to learn how to swim. If you just want your kids to float around in the water, sure, put armbands on and put them in a rubber ring, and then they can float around. But if you want to learn how to swim, you know, that stuff's not going to help you learn how to swim. You know, it's like saying learn how to drive by sitting in the passenger seat of a car. You know, you never really learn how to drive by sitting in the passenger seat. You can look at all the different actions, but you've got to get in the driver's seat at some stage, right? And so that's the way I see it with swimming. You know, there's different swimming aids, like the little board you can hold on to. The pool noodle's quite good to learn how to kick and stuff like that. But as for the armband, the rubber ring stuff, and when I actually learned how to swim, this is how I actually learned how to swim, was when I was 4 years old. My dad picked me up and he said, "It's about time you learned how to swim." And he threw me into the middle of the pool. And obviously he must have had an idea that I'd be able to get back again. But yeah, it was sink or swim. There was no in between, right? My bridges were burned, my boats were sunk, my armbands were gone, my rubber ring was burst. I had to swim back to the side. There's no way my dad was jumping in. He was fully dressed. There was no way he was going to do that, you know. And so I bobbing up and down, getting a breath, going down again. I doggy paddled back to the side, and I got out, you know, breathing heavy, spluttering and everything, and thinking, okay, that's it, I've done it. And my dad picked me up again, and he threw me again like a frisbee, like whoosh, into the middle of the pool. I landed in the middle of the pool again. He picked me up by my arm and by my leg and frisbeed me. And you know, these days your children would be taken off you for child abuse. Back then that was maybe normal. There were other people around, no one batted an eyelid, and I swam back and got out again. And so that's how I learned how to swim. I was thrown in the deep end, right? Thrown in the deep end. And sometimes you need to let go of the side. You know, you need to let go, you need to push yourself out into the deep end. And so I'm learning how to do these Google Hangouts now by just being in the deep end, right? So, you know, something you want to activate your genius in some area. You got to let go of the side. You got to stop relying or having a crutch and just get in at the deep end, right? And just start learning how to swim. You know, one way to activate your genius in areas is just to immerse yourself in something. Total focus. So if there's something you want to learn, totally immerse yourself in it. You want to learn marketing online, you want to learn paid advertising, you want to learn copywriting, you want to learn whatever it is, immerse yourself completely. A friend of mine, this is how he started an online business, is he saw, this was back in the day when Twitter was just starting to get big, he saw that there were people making money with Twitter. And he said, wow, that's pretty amazing. He says, I'm going to learn that. And at the time, he'd never done anything online before. And he locked himself in his house, took the phone off the hook, didn't answer anything, turned his mobile phone off, and for a week without stopping, a week without focusing on anything else, apart from you have to eat sometimes, you have to sleep sometimes, you have to go to the toilet sometimes, and he focused on learning everything he could about Twitter, and specifically marketing on Twitter, using Twitter as a business. And after that week, he came out of the darkness of his dark room with his square, bloodshot eyes. And he called himself the Twitter King. And he started telling everyone he was the Twitter King. And people started coming to him for advice, and businesses started hiring him for advice on how to market on Twitter. And he started being invited to go and speak at events all around the world on how to create a business and make money from Twitter. And he made $1 million in his, I think the first year in business, I think he made $1 million. The second year might have been, he made over $1 million in sales. You know, so that's the power of focusing and immersing ourselves in one thing for a short period of time like that. Amazing things can happen rather than being scattered in different things. And we can activate our genius in different areas. Okay, so we're going to carry on our reading for this morning. And just by the way, somebody has asked, you know, why don't you just make these into videos and then post them? Most people don't have time to watch them live anyway. And that may be true. And I thought about that myself, because I've seen the quality of the sound isn't great. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to get a microphone. Today I'm going to get a microphone, so tomorrow I'm going to have a microphone. And if we can make it better, we can improve on this, because there's something magical about doing things live, right? And so I want to keep doing it live. If I can improve the quality, and thank you for the comment, I'm going to get a microphone. That's pushed me a bit further. I'm going to get a microphone and see if we can improve the quality of these Hangouts up there. So let's carry on for reading page 171 of The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini. You can go to drdemartini.com and get the book there, find out more about it, or go to Amazon. So open your books at page 171. Awaken your hidden potential for genius. Inside everyone there is a genius, but unless you can see your hidden potential for genius, you probably won't ever awaken it. The key to awakening your inborn genius is to understand your highest values. That is where your unique genius lies. As we have seen, every human lives by a set of values. Whichever of your values is highest calls forth your greatest creative potential. This truth expressed by the values factor applies to every human being, no matter how old or young. None of us has to be encouraged, reminded, or motivated to live a life of service when we are living congruently with our highest value. When it comes to our highest value, we are automatically disciplined, reliable, and focused, because we are inspired from within to fulfill what is most meaningful to us. That is how we activate the values factor. By contrast, whatever is lower on your scale of values inspires you less. For lower value tasks, you tend to hesitate, procrastinate, and feel frustrated. Although your highest value is so compelling that you can scarcely keep yourself from pursuing it, your lowest value is so uninspiring that you can barely bring yourself to do it. By the same token, whatever is highest on your scale of values, you tend to bring order and organization to. So if you are a young boy who loves computer games and considers that your highest value, then you will have all your computer games stacked up nicely, organized according to topic, level of difficulty, or whatever system makes sense to you. If you are a woman who loves clothes and makeup, you will have your closet and your makeup table arranged by color and style. This is all in stark contrast to whatever is lowest on your scale of values. There, you may well be disordered, disorganized, a mess. So your first step in activating your genius is to identify your highest values, because nobody ever has to get up in the morning to pursue those values. Or nobody ever has to get you up in the morning for you to pursue those values. Nobody has to get the 10-year-old boy to sit in front of the computer game. He automatically gets up and turns it on, begins to play, and absorbs what he learns. Maybe you have to motivate him to go to bed at night or to put his clothes away. But you don't ever have to motivate him to pursue his highest values. He is inspired from within to fulfill his ability to excel at computer games and to do what he feels called to do. Likewise, nobody ever has to motivate a woman who loves clothes and makeup to go shopping, or to put her whole heart and soul into getting dressed and ready for the day. She is inspired from within to update her wardrobe or to choose just the right shade of lipstick. Like all of us, she seeks automatically to fulfill the highest values that inspire her. When you pursue your highest values, you do feel inspired and fulfilled. You will pursue those values regardless of how much pain and aggravation they cost you, regardless of how you are challenged or reprimanded. By contrast, when your lowest values are involved, you will likely hesitate and procrastinate, regardless of how many pleasurable rewards you promise yourself, regardless of how you are supported or praised. True inspiration comes only from within. We pursue those values that mean the most to us. Certainly, our values evolve and change, but we will consistently relate to them in the same way. We are inspired by our highest values, even while we remain uninterested in whatever relates to our lowest values. Moreover, our highest values indirectly dictate the activities within the sensory and motor cortices of our brain. Our values literally affect what we perceive and how we move. If a mother's highest value is on her children and she enters a mall, that will leap out at her will be children's clothes, children's educational material, children's toys. She will filter her reality according to her values, noticing anything that supports her highest values and not noticing anything that doesn't. She will move toward the objects that fulfill her highest values and away from the objects that don't. By the same token, if her brother is an entrepreneur who is not as interested in children and he enters the same mall, he will be virtually blind to what his sister notices. What will leap out at him instead are all the factors that might determine whether the mall is a wise investment. Foot traffic, vacancy rates, the age and condition of the property. His interest is in these issues will inspire him to move toward the parts of the mall that enable him to gather the information that fulfills his highest values. Meanwhile, if you ask his sister about those aspects of the mall, she would be as blind to them as her brother was to all the children's stores and products. Basically, anything that fulfills your highest values, you awaken to. Anything that does not fulfill your highest values or simply doesn't engage them, you will tend to ignore or shut down to. Your brain's glial cells and inner reticular activating system will help assure you of this. Your glial cells are specialized cells that help your brain remodel its sensory and motor nerve structures and functions. Both the act of perception and the actions you take as a result create transformation within your brain. Perception and action each affect your brain separately, and together they have an even more powerful effect. This has to do with the neuroplasticity of your sensory and motor nerves, which change in response to the demands that are made on them. So by perceiving the things that fulfill your highest values and by taking corresponding actions in a manner that will fulfill your highest values, buying something at a children's store or walking over to a vacant shop to find out more about the mall's overall profitability, you literally reshape your brain to become more effective in fulfilling your highest values. This is true whether it happens consciously or unconsciously. If you truly have as one of your highest values a desire to feed your children more nutritious food, you might find yourself noticing all sorts of places that sell healthier food, stumbling upon cookbooks with healthy recipes, and discovering TV shows specializing in healthy cooking for children. You would literally be reshaping your brain to notice these things. But if you unconsciously felt the need to eat healthier food for yourself, you might have the same experience without understanding why or how it happened. Either way, your highest value, say to support your children's health or to support your own health, will be driving your attention and intention and shaping your brain. Both your perceptions and your actions would have this effect. This is why the values factor is the key to awakening your genius on any topic that you choose. For once you link a topic to your highest values, you'll awaken a greater potential within your brain for enhanced perceptual awareness and creative genius. In the example we just considered, discovering the high value you placed on your children's health will awaken your creative genius in the field of nutrition. You will suddenly find yourself able to master complex knowledge about how food supports or challenges your body or your children's bodies. You will remember arcane facts about vitamins, nutrients, and anatomy. You will become something of an expert in the various properties of different foods and supplements. And you will perhaps surprise yourself with how much you know and remember about biology, chemistry, and neurology, even if these fields defeated you in school. Perhaps you could not master your science classes when you had not linked them to your highest values. But linking science or nutrition to your health or your children's health opens up a whole new ability within you that you never suspected. Once you understand how powerfully the values factor operates within you, you will see that the secret to awakening your genius is simply to link any topic you love to excel at to your highest values. Once something is linked to your highest values, you will awaken what I have called your attention surplus order. Your senses will become more acutely attentive to and aware of anything that might help you fulfill your highest values. Accordingly, you will mobilize your attention, you will bring order and organization to the topic, and you will be inspired to learn everything you can. You will also experience intentional surface order, a high probability of doing what you intend, and a reliable, disciplined, focused approach. In addition, you will experience retention surface order, which means that if a piece of information is associated with your highest values, you will remember it. Anything linked to your highest values, you will tend to store in your long-term memory. Anything linked to your lower values, you will tend to store in your short-term memory if you remember it at all. Thus, if you ask that boy who loves computer games what he remembers from his day at school, he might very well say he doesn't know. But if you ask him about his computer games, he will almost certainly be able to give you a long dissertation on the games he loves most. He will remember each of the different characters, he has mastered all the plays, and he can perform at an inspired and heightened level because he is efficiently mobilizing his motor functions and his sensory awareness in the service of what matters most to him. He may be a C student at school, but he is an absolute genius at computer games. If he believed that any class at school could help him with what matters most to him, excelling at computer games, he would become an absolute genius at those particular classes as well. This then is the secret to awakening your genius. Once you link the particular field at which you'd love to excel to your highest values, there will be no stopping you. There is no stopping anyone in pursuit of his or her highest values. That is the power of the values factor. Wow. That was just incredible. Even though I've read that about 5 times, I just got that on a more profound. It's so profound, right? Now listen to this, like almost last sentence. There is no stopping anyone in pursuit of his or her highest values, right? Well, once you know your highest values and you pursue them and you link other things to them, that's going to help you. That's it. You know, this is the what I find in this is like missing links in personal development, questions I had, things that just didn't seem to add up. What the values factor has done for me is join some of the dots, is bring to the surface some of those missing links and kind of bring it all together to give me a real picture of human behavior and how the brain works and why we do the things we do, and you know, how to achieve at a high level, things like that. So, you know, definitely worth watching or listening and watching to that one again and taking notes on that as well. And in your book, just underlining different things will help. You know, when you're active in reading, when you underline things, you write things beside, and you really start to get things at a deeper level. So we're going to end our call there for today. We've got a class to go and teach now, some training to go and do. Don't think I'll have time for our mastermind meeting this morning, and those that are in our team, no mastermind meeting this morning, so usually we jump onto a different hangout for that. But this morning we're not going to have one. We're going to continue with our mastermind meetings again tomorrow. So just watch yesterday's or previous mastermind meetings, and it's all relevant, right? It's all relevant, and it's timeless information. That's what I like to put out more than anything. Is stuff that's timeless. You know, that's what juices me, so to speak. Okay, so if you haven't joined our team yet, you can go to the link below. Go to supermanprogram.com and click on the link on there, and you can join our team, or you can just subscribe and get regular emails and updates and things like that. And if you want to have a vehicle for creating financial freedom online, you definitely want to go to that link and join our team for sure to be able to do that in a fairly easy and a simplistic way, right? So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again tomorrow morning. I will really do my best to be on time for tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you. See you then.